All right, we are talking 8-5A Division II with Dayton head coach Jerry Prieto. We've talked to him before at different schools. But you kind of you've had your run here, a little 5-year run of going to different schools. But you feel kind of good being here at Dayton. I know you had your first season last year. Talk to me about how that went, as far as players getting used to you, you getting used to players, and just talk a little bit about for year number one.
Yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind first year, as a lot of them are, and um, I think we got in here, and it was kind of a little bit of a culture shock to the kids, a little bit on kind of the expectations that we have as far as how to work, the hours that they're going to put in. But I thought our kids responded pretty well to it. Just like anything when it's new, sometimes there's a little bumps in the road, but I thought overall our coaches came in and did a great job of building those relationships with the kids, and uh, I thought the kids responded really well to the new standards and expectations that we brought in that from our staff. Um, the season kind of ups and downs. We started off with the bang and beat the Red School for the first time since 2012, and I think beat Porter for the first time since like 2017. And then we had a pretty good little rash of injuries, and we ended up playing seven different kids at quarterback and starting five different kids at quarterback. And so, I didn't navigate all that as well as I could have. I thought our staff did a good job. Our kids did a good job to never quit. And, we had a 4-6 season. But I thought there were a lot of positives that for us to take away from that season. I thought our kids played really hard all year long. We had to move a bunch of kids around to spots that they weren't very comfortable playing, just because one, we were in a new program, and then halfway through the season we got to move them to a different spot and try to teach it on the fly. And so we were chasing our tail a little bit this year, but like I said, I thought our coaches did a really good job of coming in and adapting and adjusting and building relationships with the kids. And I thought the kids responded well, and we were off to a pretty good off season. We had a pretty good track season. So looking to some good things ahead of us.
Well, let's talk about ahead of you. You guys put the building blocks down, building relationships. You personally seem to have built a decent relationship with your quarterback. It seems like that's been 16 years in the making, or 17. Talk to
Yes,
me
sir.
about your boy being a quarterback, and maybe some other people we need to know about on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, yeah, he's grown up in a field house, and so there's a lot worse places out there for a kid to grow up. And both of my boys have grown up in a field house, and so it's pretty special to get to coach them now. My oldest is a sophomore quarterback, and then my youngest is an eighth grader. And um, he thankfully I married way above my head, and so he's a really smart kid, works really hard. He's a pretty good athlete, and so look forward to keeping him on the field for a whole season this year. And we got some good weapons around him too, and on both sides of the ball. Denham Foster is a extremely talented kid. Um, his year last year was cut short due to some injuries as well. Unfortunately, him and my son only really had about one full game on the field together. And so, we're looking forward to getting them both back in the mix and keeping them on the field. That kid can score anytime he touches the football. And so that's a good thing for us. We got some linemen returning. Tyler Chavez. Um, is a returning lineman, a big, strong kid, very athletic, physical kid. Cooper Burks is a young kid, but he saw time on the varsity and got some starts as a freshman. And so, we're looking for some big things from him this year. Dalen Tobar is a returner at receiver, did a really good job for us. Defensively, Rakeen Akmal, he was a unanimous first team all district player at safety, had over 100 tackles. Merkel Judge had about 148 tackles for us at linebacker. Colton Havard had over 100 tackles. So we got some pretty good core pieces returning. And there's a lot of opportunities for some young kids to step up and earn some spots and take some spots this spring. So we're looking forward to seeing who's going to compete and who's going to go out and want to take those spots and win those spots.
Well, I'll finish it off like this. In order to get in the postseason, you're going to have to move some people. You're going to have to move some
Yeah,
people
no
out of
doubt.
the way. And this district came down to the wire with Montgomery, Lake Creek, Nederland, and of course you had PNG and Huntsville. Huntsville maybe have had a new coach in there. Maybe that gives you a year of learning, but you can't hang your hat on that. Talk about trying to move people and get into that playoff spot.
Yeah, our district is incredibly tough. I think it's probably top to bottom the toughest 5A Division II district in the state of Texas. You got Huntsville who returned. They're going through a coaching change, but man, they returned um, a whole lot of their varsity that was really really good this year. Probably the most talented team in the district coming back. Then you got PNG, who's PNG. They're going to be massive. They're going to be physical. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to play really hard. They're coached really well. They're not going to beat themselves. Um, and then you got Nederland, who made the playoffs this year in their first year head coach, and so they'll be improving as they move into year two with their coach. Montgomery and Lake Creek are really solid programs, and then you got some of us that were towards the bottom that I think are improving as well. West Fork brings back their whole team. They didn't have seniors last year. Splendora was extremely young and had a lot of really good playmakers. So, top to bottom, like if you don't bring your A game in our district, you're not going to have a chance to win a football game.
It's going to be fun. I know we like to talk about these things way early, but that's the way you do it in Texas, man. You couldn't
Yes,
do
sir.
it.
Absolutely.
Couldn't do this in Wyoming, but in Texas we can do this. So
That's right.
I appreciate you joining me, Coach, and keep them boys healthy.
Yes, sir. That's the plan.